Hello! In this lesson, we are going to be talking about angles. Before we get into measuring of angles, we have to know how to describe angles. An angle is formed by two rays with the same endpoints. So if you look at my picture below, the endpoint here is B, and then I have two rays from that endpoint. This point right here, where it has the two rays, that is called the vertex. So B would be my vertex. And the sides here would be BA and BC. So there's three ways that we can describe or name angles. The first way is if there is a number at the vertex, or you could say inside of the angle right here. We could say that this is angle 1. The second way that we could say that or name this angle would be by looking at just the vertex right here. And I could say that this is angle B because that is my vertex. And the third way that I can describe this angle would be by looking at all three letters. So when I were to actually trace this angle out, I start at A, I go to B, and to C. So this angle would be angle A, B, C. And as you can see here, each of these have this symbol. This symbol represents angle. So if I'm naming angles and it says, what are two other names for angle M? So here's my M. So the two other ways I could name this, the number on the inside here is 1. So I could say angle 1. Or else I could actually write out the three letters. And this is typically how I will want you to name angles, is using the three letters that create that angle. Again, it's the three letters that when you trace it out, that's the order it has to be in. So your vertex, your M, has to be in the middle. So you could either say angle L, M, N, or you could also say angle N, M, L. Those are the same angle. So key terms here. Again, you should pause this to write these down if you are unsure what these are. So an acute angle is an angle in between 0 and 90 degrees. So x is more than 0 and less than 90. A right angle would be equal to 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is between 90 and 180 degrees. And a straight angle has a degree measure of 180. So a picture of all of these would be like this. This would be considered an acute angle because it's less than 90 degrees. This would be considered a right angle because it has a box and we represent a right angle by a box. This would be an obtuse angle because it's larger than 90 degrees. And a straight angle is just a straight line. So this right here would be a straight angle equal to. So when I'm looking at two angles and if they are congruent, remember that congruent means the same or equal to. They have the same mark at the angle at the vertex. So if I make the same mark right now, that shows that the two angles are congruent. As soon as I have two arcs at one and one arc at the other, this shows me that they are not congruent. They could be, but this is not what it's telling me. So again, they have to have the same symbol at the vertex. So I'm looking at this picture over on the right. There's a lot going on there, and it might look confusing, but you just take it one step at a time. So my first question says, what angle is congruent to WBM? And remember, that's the way that you trace out your angle. So if here's my W, here's my B, and here's my M right here. At that angle, it only has one arc. So when I'm looking at the diagram, I have to look for the other spot that has one arc. And here it is. Now, in this case, I can't just say angle E because there's multiple different angles at angle E. That's why you should always name your angle in three letters. But there are different ways that you can name this angle and still have the correct answer. For me, I'm going to start at point W, go to E, and go up to B. So I'm going to say angle W, E, B. You could have also said A, E, B, or AED, because those are all tracing the exact same angle. My next question says, what is congruent to angle YAD? So the first thing you have to do is find where YAD is located. And it's right here, YAD, where my purple is. And at this angle, I have 3 arcs. So I have to look for the spot that has 3 arcs. And here it is. So when I'm tracing this angle, I'm going to start at F, and then it's at point C. And I could either say B or W. So I could say angle FCB, or else I could have said FCW. You also can write it the opposite way. So I could have said BCF. Again, just making sure that when you're saying those 3 letters, it traces out the angle you are talking about. And my last one, what angle is congruent to ADE? So if I look at this, ADE. It's kind of hard to see because I have my other colors there. But that has 2 arcs. The other part that has 2 arcs would be this angle straight across from it. This angle right here. So angle MDC. And again, because there are so many points here, you could have multiple different angles that would be considered congruent to this. I could also say BDC or BDF, as long as D is in the middle and the other 2 letters help trace out the angle you are talking about. So now we have an angle addition postulate. So what this is saying is this small angle AOB right here plus the other small angle there, BOC, this angle right here, is going to be equal to my larger angle, which would be AOC. Another way to think of this would be small plus small equals big. So the big angle is always going to be equal to the 2 smaller parts. When you're looking at this picture here, it's telling me that angle ABC. So I'm first going to trace out ABC. And right away I see that angle ABC is my big. So I know that small plus small equals big. So I'm going to put that equal to 175 because that's my big. And it says that angle ABD, this angle, is 6x minus 5, and CBD is 4x plus 10. Those are my 2 small. So I can write in my small 6x minus 5 plus 4x plus 10 is equal to 175. Because that's my small, small, big. Right now you should pause the video and solve for x. I solved for x and I got x is equal to 17. I first had to combine like terms to get 10x plus 5 because remember subtraction stays with the number. So now that I know that x is 17, my actual question above asked what are the measures of my 2 smaller angles. So now that I know that x is 17, I can plug that into my 2 equations to figure out what my 2 angles are equal to. Pause the video now and do that on your own. And as you can see, I plugged in 17 into ABD and I got 97 degrees. I plugged 17 into CBD and I got 78 degrees. You can always check your answers by adding those 2 smaller parts up. So 97 plus 78 would be equal to 175. So it checks out because my small, small equals my large. For this next problem, it's telling me that DEF is a straight angle. So there's 2 things I know here. I know that this angle right here is a straight angle. And I know that this would be my big part. So just like before, I have my small and my small right here equal my big. So I can say 11x minus 12, that's a small part, plus 2x plus 10, that's another small part, is equal to 180. Because a straight angle is equal to 180. Right now you should pause and solve for x. Once you combine your like terms, add 2 to both sides and divide by 13, you get that x is equal to 14. So now in order to find the two missing angles, the two smaller parts, you have to plug x into both equations. Do that now. Once you plug in 14, angle DEF, this angle right here, would be equal to 142 degrees. And angle CEF would be equal to 38 degrees. Right now you should fill out the Google Doc form and submit your answers. Have a great day.